I did a video the other day about getting your pack on a plane, but maybe I should do one on how to get your pack off of a plane. If you get to where you're going and you're lucky enough that your pack shows up too, you might want to hurry, at least I do. I figure people that have seen me on the plane are probably thinking, well, they let him on the plane, he's probably not a serial killer. So if I'm hitchhiking, which is usually the case, I get outside before they all go by and one of them might just pick me up. That didn't happen on my last trip. I got out in Kalispell heading for Glacier and they all blew right past me. I recognized a bunch of them. None of them picked me up. But a guy did show up in a pickup truck, picked me up. Nice guy. Told me he was out looking for work after just getting out of Florence prison in Arizona after 14 years. And as he's telling me all his stories, I noticed that right next to him and between he and I in the seat is a Bible, a jewel encrusted Bible that was about a foot by a foot and a half, a big thing. And at one point he said, "And don't you worry, because Jesus is riding right here with us." And my smart-ass brain, my mouth didn't say anything, but my smart-ass brain says, does he know you stole the Pope's Bible? Anyway, he was a great guy. Took me all the way up to Glacier, out of his way, and I hope he found work. Much nicer than all those people that flew with me on the plane that just blew right past me and dusted me. So when you're through hiking, you're probably going to end up doing some hitchhiking, and it's not a problem around a lot of trail towns. You know, coming into Chester, I guess that's California still on the PCT. I had enough food. I carry a lot of food, so I skip a lot of towns. If they're not really easy, convenient, I just blow right past them because I've got enough food to keep forward momentum. And I wasn't going into Chester, but as soon as my foot hit the pavement, a lady pulled up in a minivan and said, "You need a ride to town." And I made an instant decision, yeah. So she not only took me to town, she was like the Chamber of Commerce. She showed me the different lakes in the area and where the stores were and dropped me off at the church where everybody sleeps behind. And coming out of town, I got a ride just like that. It was like really a great stop. I'm glad it happened just organically. But it's not something that's always easy, and sometimes I was trying to get into Big Bear, and I came down to the road and there were two other people there, and I thought, oh boy, now it's a numbers thing, so if somebody's going to stop, is going to say, I got to take three of them. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll sit back and see if they get a ride, but they weren't getting a ride. So then I got up there and put my thumb out, and the girl said, "Come on, you're a dude, I'll get the ride." And she stuck her thumb out for half an hour, and she didn't do any better than I did. And finally the guy gave her a 20 to wave. And even though she wasn't a dude and she had a 20 waving in the breeze, nobody picked him up. And finally they decided, you know what, there's a town south of here, I don't know what it was, but they crossed the road and went the other way and did get a ride pretty quick. And then a bunch of Russian kids picked me up and took me right to Big Bear as soon as I was just a single hiker, because there were 6 of them in this station wagon and there wasn't room for hardly me. But it's a numbers game. But like I say, most trail towns, hitchhiking is no problem, but you've got to know what cars to get into and what cars not to. And it's not only you have to worry about, getting into a car with a stranger, but a stranger has to worry about picking you up. And, it's kind of a dance. So don't think you have to take every ride that comes along. You're never going to see that person again. So if you're not comfortable, don't do it. So on that same trip coming back from Glacier to the airport, I get picked up immediately by a kid that worked in the oil patch over in North Dakota. He was a wild one. I got in the truck and he had a 45 and a holster hanging from the radio knob. And he said right away, Don't let the 45 make you nervous. I just work with a bunch of assholes over in North Dakota in the oil patch. So I'm thinking, again, my smart ass brain, not my mouth, is saying, oh great, I'm riding with a guy who shoots his co-workers. Sometimes I'm almost embarrassed to hitchhike. I'm wet, smelly. On the Conda Levide Trail, I was below Rogers Pass. It was Montana, but I hadn't reached the Bob yet. And I was walking down a mountain road heading for a bar that I knew had food. And a motorhome pulled up, which kind of shocked me because it was a bad road, but they didn't own it. It was one of those 1-800-RENT-ME motorhomes. And a German family, an older couple and their grown children, touring the West, I guess. Anyway, they stopped, the door opened, and the older woman said, you need a ride. And I said, well, you know, I smell bad, I'm wet, you don't want me in there. She literally grabbed me and drugged me and insisted that they were going to give me a ride down the mountain, which they did. And then they got their US map out and wanted me to show them where I had come from. You know, when you get up a trail a long ways and you run into people that have no clue about long distance through hiking, and you tell them you came from Mexico, it really gets their attention and they're very interested. So they got the map out and I showed them exactly where I started in the boot heel, Antelope Wells, the bottom of the boot heel of New Mexico. And here I am. And they were just super nice people. And again, bought me lunch.